Jonathan used to say, we are not trying to make people laugh with this show. We're trying to make somebody laugh so hard they fall off their couch laughing.
Three's Company dominated the sitcom scene of the 1970s. It came at a time when the Hays Code was just being lifted. That meant they could go for riskier storylines in their attempts to get laughs. Keep watching for the Three's Company episode John Ritter hated more than others. The show's inspiration. Three's Company was based on a British sitcom called Man About the House. That wasn't the only source of inspiration for the cast and crew. Norman Fell played landlord Stanley Roper. He based the character on a man he knew in his hometown of Philadelphia. As he put it, quote, he was innocent and a guy who just can't do things right, whether it's being with a woman or fixing something, and yet he thought he was the cat's meow. He thought he was attractive, and he liked his clothes. He thought people were looking at him because of how well preserved he looked. He thought he was all the things he's not. Unused Pilots. The details of a TV show's pilot are rarely set in stone. A great deal often gets changed between the early stages and what audiences actually see. In some cases, there are even multiple pilots before the final details get hammered out. Three's Company had to go through several before it ever went on air. Writer-producer Larry Gelbart made the first pilot to resemble Man About the House. John Ritter's character was an aspiring filmmaker named David Bell. He had two female roommates, Jenny, played by Valerie Curtin, and Samantha, played by Suzanne Zenor. Fred Silverman, head of ABC programming at the time, requested another pilot. It was written by Don Nickel, Michael Ross, and Bernard West. They were producers and writers for The Jetsons and All in the Family. Joyce DeWitt joined the cast, and Suze Lehner-Bramlett played Chrissy. The third time was the charm for Three's Company. They finally got a pilot on the air March 15th, 1977.
Theme song. Do you want us to sing the theme song? Can
Not
you remember
gonna do
it?
Are you kidding? I don't think a day goes by that somebody doesn't sing it to me.
The classic theme song. One reason it ended up working so well was it was created by great talent. Joe Raposo, who had worked on other hit themes for Sesame Street and The Electric Company, took it on. The show's producers thought it might be fun to have the cast members sing the tune. They gave it a shot, but associate producer Mimi Sewell said, quote, they didn't even come close. Ray Charles, no relation to the famous pianist, and Julia Rinker sang the song instead. Finding and recruiting the right actors. Not all of the cast of Three's Company had to go through a traditional audition process. Some were specifically recruited or found by accident. The showrunners were desperate to find their Chrissy the day before production began. They'd received a tower of audition tapes, and Fred began fast-forwarding through them. He stopped when he saw Suzanne Summers. She was summoned to the studio without being told why. As Fred recalls,
we got her in that day, and she was on the set tomorrow, and she was terrific in that part. And that was an accident, because she should never have gotten the part.
The showrunners may have been clueless about who should play Chrissy, but they did know they wanted Audra Lindley for Mrs. Roper. They wanted her so badly, they went to the LA Playhouse she was performing at to find her. They paid $8,000, equivalent to $41,000 in today's money, to buy out the theater. That freed up Audra's schedule so she could tape the pilot. Intro details. A great show intro is one where you can notice new details even after watching it for the 1,000th time. Three's Company had just such an intro. The brunette who makes John fall off his bike is Suzanne Summers in a brown wig. He said as much in Chris Mann's book Come and Knock on Our Door, a hers and his guide to Three's Company. He also noted, quote, you can tell by her little Suzanne buns. The opening credits changed through season 6 through 8, but they added another detail when they did. Jason Ritter appeared at a young age by accident. He reminisced about it on Entertainment Tonight.
That's actually where you made your TV debut.
That is, yeah, on the opening credits of Three's Company.
Look at those little overalls.
My mom was holding on to me, and I got out of her arms, and I walked into the shot, and it was a nice moment, so they decided to keep it in.
Don't spend your salary in one place, Suzanne. Oh, the thrill of earning your big first paycheck. Oh, the temptation to spend it all on one expensive thing you've always wanted. Almost all celebrities probably have a tale of what they bought when they first made it big. Suzanne did spend all her earnings on the first season of Three's Company in one place, but it was more of a practical decision than you might think. She was watching the blooming career of Charlie's Angels star Farrah Fawcett. She decided to hire her press manager, Jay Bernstein. She hoped he could do for her what he'd done for Farrah. Joyce wanted to quit. Joyce finished the first 6-episode season and didn't like where producers were taking her character. She thought they were forcing Janet to be too brash and threatened to leave if they didn't let her evolve. They listened, and it paid off. Janet ended up being a more likable character by the end of the series than even the producers expected. John Ritter hated this Three's Company episode more than any other. Cast members aren't too different from fans of a show. They may get a closer look into how it's made, but that's part of why they have stronger opinions about their favorite and least favorite episodes. Peter Mark Richmond appeared in 3 episodes as Chrissy's father, Reverend Luther Snow. He revealed that John Ritter told him he absolutely hated the episode Chrissy and the Guru. It showed Chrissy falling for a spiritual conman. Being too blonde. Priscilla Barnes was a late addition to the show. First there was Chrissy, then there was Cindy, then there was her character, Nurse Terry Alden. Perhaps this late season pressure made the showrunners nervous. They may have started trying extra hard to ensure they didn't get canceled. Priscilla called her bosses controlling. She even said, quote, "If my hair was too blonde, I'd get called up in the office." Richard's punishment. Priscilla wasn't the only one who felt the wrath of the showrunners from time to time. Richard played Jack's best friend, Larry Dallas. He made a reasonable request during a run-through. All he said was, quote, "I'd like to discuss my character." That comment got him written off the show for 4 weeks. Suzanne's punishment. Suzanne's punishment from the showrunners was the most extreme. Financial tensions are common on TV shows, and they showed up on Three's Company as well. During the 1980-81 season, John Ritter made $50,000 an episode. Joyce and Suzanne only made $30,000. Suzanne wasn't going to stand for it. She asked for a bump up to the same as the guys and 10% of the show's profits. Tensions rose in the 4th season. She stopped speaking to the other cast members for a while. Instead of raising her pay, the showrunners essentially wrote Chrissy off the show. She was caring for her ailing mother in Fresno and would only call to fill in the final minutes of the episode. That led her to be replaced by Chrissy's cousin, Cindy, played by Jenny Lee Harrison. Spinoffs. The cast was once asked if the show could ever return. There were times when that did happen. It occurred for 2 fan-favorite side characters and then a new set of main ones. They weren't as successful as the main show, but it allowed for more creative opportunities. The Ropers. Sometimes a character's removal isn't permanent, but conditional. Norman Fell enjoyed playing Mr. Roper on Three's Company. He wasn't into the idea of leaving such a popular show. The problem was, his on-screen wife, Mrs. Roper, was. By the 3rd season, Audra Lindley was all in on the idea of a Three's Company spinoff called The Ropers. ABC decided they'd appease Norman by giving him a promise. If The Ropers was canceled after a year, he and Audra could come back to the main show. The spinoff drew a big crowd initially, most likely of Three's Company's fans. It had the 2nd highest ratings for a series debut as of March 1979. When it moved to Saturdays for its 2nd season, though, viewership dropped, and it was canceled. Norman still wanted to return to Three's Company, but the terms of the deal weren't met. The Ropers had technically lasted for 1.5 years. His role in the cast had already been filled by Ralph Furley, played by Don Knotts. John was at least grateful for the chance to have them all as castmates. He said,
I'm a huge Don Knotts fan.
God, and
yeah.
he was so great to work with. And as much as the only person that possibly take Norman and Audra's place was Don,
Right.
we were so lucky to have all 3 of them.
Now it's time to hear from you. What was your favorite Three's Company episode? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.